Hello and welcome to my personal top 10 gaming Easter eggs and myths. Easter eggs in gaming are a topic that I personally adore and I cannot get enough of. So with that in mind, I decided to make my own top 10 list. However, before we start, there are two rules. These rules are to ensure that I don't put a whole lot of Halo on the list and to make sure I keep the list original. Now with that said, let's move on to the first game. At number 10 is Psychonauts, a charmingly psychedelic 2005 platformer developed by Double Fine Productions, which follows Raz, a young psychonaut in training, as he tries to save the day with his psychic abilities. However, spoiler warning, if you wish to stay spoiler free, click away now. This goes for pretty much everything else in this list, so you have been warned. Are they gone? They better be. I swear to God if you're not, I'm gonna come over there and I'm gonna kick you. During the level Miller's Dance Party, if you follow the above video as it shows, you should come across a little room that Mila doesn't want you getting into, and she'll say the above line of text.
Now why would you want to come in here? Come on, this room's no fun. Let's leave, baby.
Suspicious indeed. If you continue to explore the room, you'll start seeing figments in the shape of small children, and also a children's picture book. This is the beginning of an Easter egg that freaked out many people back in the day. But that is not all. In the back right hand side of the room is a chest which Miller definitely does not want you getting into. This was the final straw for most people. Just look for yourself, just have a look.
Now you definitely don't want to go in there. That's a party killer right there.
Darling, what are you doing down here? The party is upstairs.
Lucky for you, I have my nightmares under control. These things can take you to a world of pain, trust me. Now quick, let's get back to the party, okay?
Darling, if you're looking for the makeup room, you've come to the wrong place.
Sonic CD. An old classic platformer and personal favourite of mine, however sadly overshadowed and overlooked, lost to the passage of time, which is rather ironic considering Sonic CD's time travel theme. Regardless, Sonic CD is home to a series of infamous little Easter eggs. To access the following Easter egg, you must enter debug mode, which can be done with the following code. Once in debug mode, enter this following code, and after that you'll be treated to this image. Not exactly what you would expect to see, especially from a Sonic game. The text on screen reads, "Infinite Fun, Sega Emprizes, Mad Zin." Apparently this is a message from Masato Nishimura, one of the landscape designers for Sonic CD, or Madzin, which is pronounced same as Majin. This is a reference to how Majin was also another way to pronounce Masato's childhood nickname. Incidentally, the boss music also plays during the screen, so it's especially creepy. Mirror's Edge, a 2008 first-person action-adventure platformer developed by EA DICE. A fantastic little parkour simulator set in a futuristic world following people called Runners. More importantly, the main character Faith Connors, as she tries to uncover a secret plot. However, this game is also harbouring a fair few secrets, including the one that we are going to be looking at now for number 8. To view this Easter egg, go to the chapter select and pick the end half of the level 8. Once there, pick up the sniper rifle and save Kate as you normally would. But before you leave the room, with sniper rifle in hand, take aim at the orange billboard and fire at the center white dot. If you're still confused, take a look at this video.
What's happening? Report!
Majora's Mask, an old Nintendo classic, and one of the all-time greatest Legend of Zelda games. Although I regret to say that I never was able to experience the original, I was able to pick up the 3DS remake, which means that this Easter egg still makes the list. You can't tell me how to live my life. Now I'll be honest, it was excruciatingly difficult to find footage of this. And long story short, I didn't. Let's just cut straight to the chase and talk about the Happy Mask salesman. He's a bit of a creepster, but you may notice that on the back of his backpack there's a mask that looks very, very similar. Yes, this is none other than Mario Jumpman Mario himself. Rather creepy, but luckily for me, even all of the Happy Mask salesman's official artwork have the same mask. Hell, it can even be seen in the 3DS Remake's trailer. Batman Arkham Asylum, a 2009 action-adventure game developed by Rocksteady Studios, saw huge critical acclaim, especially with the fluidity of which you could control Batman. Add that on top of a dynamic and immersive combat system and you have yourself a winner of a game. Needless to say, I was a really big fan of this game when it came out. But can you imagine my joy when I found out a few months later that this game was also harbouring a huge secret? Yes, about 6 months after release, the devs Rocksteady Studios, in a podcast, let out some information along the lines of, hey, there's a secret room that even people who have 100% this game haven't found yet. And that set people off searching, and the end result is the following video. Yes, that was indeed a room foreshadowing the release of the next game in the series, Arkham City, which was mind-blowing at the time that something like that would be hidden so deeply in a game's files. It was incredible at the time, and that's why it's midway on the list. Gears of War 2, a third-person action shooter that I could not get enough of when I was younger. Incidentally, this was developed by Epic Games, and lead designer Cliff Bleszinski. Where on earth did he go wrong, if you know what I'm saying? Anyways, the Gears of War franchise is known for being nitty-gritty and gory, but that doesn't mean it can't have a sense of humour. In fact, several of its secrets and in-game Easter eggs are humorous little nods to other franchises or even little pokes at its own. However, the next one takes things slightly off the rails a little bit. To see this next Easter egg, be on the mission Rolling Thunder on insane difficulty. At the beginning of the mission you'll be travelling on this vehicle that is referred to as Betty, but around the vehicle will be several cowboy hats. Just refer to the video on screen if you don't know where they are. All you have to do is simply shoot them, and well, you'll see what happens next. But if you thought wearing a cool hat was all there is, then you were sorely mistaken. Later on in the mission, you should be attacked by an enemy known as a corpser. However, if you have the Easter egg active, this happens instead.
Let's get out of here!
Well, here we are, Halo Reach. A game that if you wanted me to, I could talk about for probably years. I played this way too much. Way too much. And if I hadn't had the rules in place, then there'd be much more Halo on this list. Anyway, as for the secret itself, well, this is something I used to do all the time to pass the time. Just when I was bored and I was waiting for people to show up on Xbox Live, I would just jump into this mission and do this. Anyway, apologies, it's really hard to find video of how to activate it. Luckily I remember how to do it. So, all you have to do is be on the mission New Alexandria on normal or higher difficulty. To do this, there'll be a point in the mission when you had all the jammers destroyed except for one at the club. But before you do go to the club, there'll be a building on your right, and this building should be where you started the mission. Now if you go back there and go a little bit into the building, you'll find a switch. And if you press that and then go to the club, and destroy the turrets to clear out the landing zone, then once you land there, there'll be a small surprise waiting for you. Just to recap, that's destroy all the jammers, except for the one at the club, go back to your spawn building, hit the switch, fly back, do your thing, and then there's a thing waiting for you. Let's have a look-see. Yep, that's right. When you walk in, you'll find an assortment of Halo enemies having a good time, dancing around and doing their thing. These mostly include grunts, but there is a brute that is DJing the entire event. Sit back and just enjoy the visuals. It should be noted, however, that attacking anyone will instantly turn them all hostile towards you, so probably not a good idea. Saints Row is a series full of secrets, but I'm not going to be talking about any of those. No references, no Easter eggs. Do you remember what I said at the beginning? I said Easter eggs and myths. We're going to be talking about some of those for a while. See, Saints Row 3 contained a playground myth that, when I was younger, totally encapsulated me. Not as much as the things higher up on this list, but definitely quite a lot. So currently running up on screen should be a video by Aaron Prod. There it is, yep. And I'm gonna let this run in the background while I'm talking. So there was a boat that was discovered not soon after launch that you were able to enter. And inside this boat, inside the main cabin that you were able to enter was a map, which I'll also pop up now. There we go. Now you can see several noteworthy things on this, but namely in the bottom right is an image of a mermaid. And naturally this made people flock to the bottom right of the map. And hundreds upon thousands of fake mermaids in Saints 3 videos popped up all over the place. It became one of those things, and in an era when I was younger where rickrolling was a thing, and screamers, you had to be very selective about what you clicked on. Sometimes it was a risky click, in the truest sense of the word. But anyway, I spent hours and hours and hours analysing and looking into this area of the map, trying to be the first person to taste a bit of that internet fame when I was younger. Of course I never did, because mermaids aren't in this game, but it was still a very important myth to me, and that's why it's made number 3. Now the other two were much bigger parts of my childhood, and that's why they're higher up. But still, this deserved a high up mention nonetheless. And what do we have for the penultimate myth/Easter egg? Well, those who know their stuff should know this well. Unapologetically, it's Elazriel 2401. I legitimately spent more time looking into this than studying. It's ludicrous. I think the greatest mystery of all is that it's 2018 and I'm here discussing Elazriel. But you have no idea how this one image of this one fountain spawned so much crap on the YouTube platform. It's silly. And it all spawned from, as you can see here, a little image that supposedly said on the plaque, Elazriel 2401. Now, if you're like me and you're looking at this and you're thinking to yourself, wow, people could tell what that said? Probably not. You have to remember that a few years ago, people just made things up. And here is one such example. Now I dare you to look up Elazriel on YouTube. You're gonna see a lot of kids talking about how they solved it, and a lot of people bragging about solving it, and a lot of people just trying to cash in on fame. Which, to be fair, I was trying to do too, so I can't speak. Anyway, the real mystery behind Elazriel was that people believed that Elazriel 2401 was alluding to the existence of another playable character in Super Mario 64, namely Luigi. Of course, he's not in the game, and the actual answer is, it was left there as a joke. To directly quote Michael D. Chandler of Nintendo of America, many people think that it's a hint that Luigi is in the game, and it has something to do with a special code. The real answer is that the programmers put it there as a joke. They thought people would try to figure it out, what it means, but it doesn't have any meaning at all. That's it. And it didn't help that in Ocarina of Time, in Dodora's Cavern, there was also this exact same plaque on another wall. I think another real answer is that it's just a placeholder texture. But this makes a high list because of how much of an impact this had on communities. How much this defined Easter eggs and myth hunting in gaming. And it's one of the things that got me into even gaming in the first place. And for that reason, it has to be high up. It is a legendary fuck up on the YouTube community's part, on the Super Mario 64's part. It is fantastic, and I will forever hold the memories of trying to unravel this mystery fondly, even if at the end of the day it led to nothing. But even still, also honourable mentions. In the DS remake, people started saying that this alluded to the existence of Waluigi instead, and that's a whole other can of worms. And also, bonus Easter egg, an actual Easter egg. This little mystery is represented in Super Mario Odyssey, spoiler warning, in the Mushroom Kingdom, with the exact same little courtyard, which I'll pop an image up of now, while I sign off this little segment. GTA 4 from Rockstar was, let's be honest, a less than good game. But it was a game that had its charms nonetheless, assuming that you could see those charms through its dreary colour palette and awful weather conditions and cars that drove like soapboxes on a soap-covered soap ladle. But nonetheless, it had a lot of good secrets and Easter eggs, which I am not going to be talking about any of. That's right, at number 1 is another myth. But this myth is one so important to me. It is literally the thing that got me into Easter eggs, full stop. If I hadn't ever come across this, I would have never even come across anything else, and I would not be here making years later. So, with that in mind, I'm just gonna say it. It's Ratman. The whole Ratman myth was spurred on by one single awful image, which are going to be popping up right now, kabam! And as you can see, it's awful. It's such bad quality. But back then, people bought it. I bought it. Everyone bought it. And the myth goes as follows. It describes Ratman as ambiguously one of two things. A literal rat man, who is described as being kind of tall, half man, half rat. The usual fare, they attack the player. Kind of creepypasta-esque, but they also report seeing Ratman all the time underneath the subways, in the subway tunnels. And this myth was... It blew up. Plain and simple, it blew up. People did it all the time. There was a lot of stipulation over where to find him and what exactly he was. People said there was Ratman blood around the subway, and it's just this orange stain that's probably just ambient textures. It's a lot of nonsense, but people really went for it. And to give you an example of some of the really bad proof, quote-unquote, of Ratman, I'm going to put them up now. So I'm going to be cycling through these. You can see that these are just either normal things that happen, or really bad photos. But nonetheless, I wrote pages upon pages upon pages. I did loads of research into this. It's really just, a lot of the sightings just turned out to be glitches. It was all fake. None of it was real. Ratman was never a thing that was meant to be in the game. Whenever someone said, oh, there's a really fast NPC, it's just either a bug or a glitch, or a texturing error, everything was just fake. To go into more detail, people kept saying that in-game, on the website, say there were things for human lab rat testing, and apparently there's this one comedian in-game that says that a hobo sprinted past him at immense speed, which people then started saying it was a reference to Ratman's supposed immense speed, which the myth also stipulates as being a thing. But I'm not going to try to pull the wool over your eyes, and I'm not going to try to make it be like, oh, it's possible to be there. It's not. It's just not there. It doesn't exist. And I thought that would be a fantastic thing to end this on. I love this myth, and I hold it in such high regards, because it's literally why I'm here doing this. And it highlights so perfectly how something fake that you hear on the playground, or you hear from a third person on some random website that you just instantly take to be true, it's not. I think it speaks volumes to especially the clickbait culture that we have today, and how similar it is, and how so many people believe in those content creators. But yeah, I thought that would be a cute way of ending this off, and it legitimately is my #1 all-time favourite. Hey, it's me poking in for one final little thought. This was an adventure to make. It took forever to do, about a week. But, you know, I'm not used to these types of things. But I totally will do more if you want more. So be sure to let me know. As always, stick around if you feel like sticking around, and I guess I'll see you next time.